Born in the same year on the same day, Christo from Bulgaria and Jeanne-Claude from Morocco on June 13, 1935, the two were destined for greatness. Christo fled to Paris shortly after the Hungarian Revolution in 1958, where he crossed paths with Jeanne-Claude and they fell in love. She would become not only his wife, but his life partner who helped him realize his artistic visions for large-scale environmental art installations. A few of their most known works include the wrapped Reichstag in Berlin, the umbrellas in both Japan and California, and the gates in New York City. Their projects are known for the use of polypropylene fabrics of different colors and weaves which interacted with light and environments around them. The process to get approval for a project was long and tedious, consisting of many legal battles. More often than not, their ideas would be rejected, but they wouldn't take no for an answer. The cost of the projects ranged from $10 to $25 million, yet they took no corporate funding or donations. Instead, they paid for the expenses of the projects themselves just with the money they earned from selling Christo's collages.
I don't like to be involved with any commercial venture because I like to keep my credibility very high and very pure.
After the projects were approved, they took 1 to 2 weeks to build with the help of paid volunteers. The projects were completely free and open to the public, and since they were just woven into what was already there, they allowed for the everyday person who was just walking to work to experience a very physical and immersive piece of art.
It's extremely physical, because you do not look, you do not walk, you're there and you're on the project, you move by the project physically, and you need to make effort to walk and to see all these things, and you're in constant motion.
Each project was temporary and only lasted for 2 to 3 weeks.
In 2 weeks, everything will disappear. Can you imagine that? An artist that doesn't want to keep his work? It's just like a happening.
But their goal was to leave everyone who visited with a long-lasting memory.
The drawings, they are about the project. The photographs, the films, they are about the project. But this 14 days unique experience is something irrepeatable.
One of my earliest memories is going to the gates with my family in Central Park. I think being able to see that from such a young age really created a foundation for what I thought art was. I remember just loving how different it was from normal. It almost reminds me of the feeling that you get when it's snowed all night and the roads are completely covered in snow, that it just looks like a completely different place. And that's how I felt Central Park looked with all of the orange gates. And I just remember asking to sit up on people's shoulders and touch the fabric with my hands. It was just such a physical experience, and it was so exciting. And I was really grateful to be able to relive that when I went to go see the floating piers in Italy a few years ago, and it gave me the same feeling. And I'm just so grateful that Christo's art was able to touch my life in such a strong way as he has many others.
All I can tell you is that Bert and I, from 1971 to the date of Bert's death, 1997, we had the most fabulous life traveling around with the Christos. Every project was a party. You worked hard, and at night you partied. They took good care of all their workers. They always paid us minimum wage. They would not let anyone work for nothing. One story that I remember, and it's very important in the history of Christo and Jeanne-Claude, is at the Berlin Wall. That's when Jeanne-Claude decided to become known as an artist with Christo. It's at that project. And I worked in the office, and we were told every morning, we were given a day's talk by Jeanne-Claude. The first day, she announced that she was now part of the Christo team acknowledged and that her name would be on every work that he did. And if a reporter or someone came in and said, "Oh no," she told us we had to throw them out. And that's when Jeanne-Claude became Christo and Jeanne-Claude. And during that time in Berlin, the Modern Museum there offered Christo a show. And Jeanne-Claude went with him to the meeting, and we were at the meeting with him. And the curator, or whoever that was, said to her, "Oh no, we can't include you because they're Christo's works." And she said, "Well, then Christo will not have a show here." And we all walked out.
I was very young the first time I met Christo and Jeanne-Claude at their studio in Soho, and when we first walked in, Jeanne-Claude explained very strictly how one of her 2 couches was the designated smoking couch. She had very fiery red hair, and while she appeared hard on the outside, inside she was actually really soft and caring. When my grandparents would talk about art and tell stories with them, Jeanne-Claude would take out a small little wooden turtle toy for me to play with so I wouldn't get bored of the adult talk. She even sent me a package of signed books of their projects, which was really special to me at such a young age. As for Christo, what I remember most of all was his gentle and humble presence. He was so polite and he listened to everything you had to say, and I also learned a lot from him in such a short time, even though I was really young, and for that I'm forever grateful.